What's good, gamers? Aquilon here, and welcome back to each and every one of you. We have to talk about Veranoth. The Incarnates, the aspects, everything. There's a bit of a mess. In my last video, the link will be on your screen right now, I covered some of my issues with the story. Today I want to talk about where that story should go and what I think that story should be, because as I said, it is something that warrants its own video. Let's just quickly do a recap of why I'm not a huge fan of how the story played out. In 10.1.7, we saw Veranoth walking over to the side of the aspects after witnessing Fyrakk wanting to burn a druid. Right there, we have to look at the history. We don't know what happened during the War of the Scaleborn and everything that preceded before they were locked up inside their Titan prisons. What we do know is why the War of the Scaleborn broke out in the first place, and it had to do with the corruption of the dragon eggs. It is canonical. All dragons, when they were still proto-dragons, would hatch their eggs at the ruby life pools. This, of course, I think the name may have come much later. I don't think the proto-dragons referred to it as the ruby life pools, but that was where they would hatch their eggs. It was safer, there were safety in numbers, and there were many dragons to watch over the eggs and make sure that the eggs are safe. Now, of course, then the Titan Keepers started to interfere. We had the aspects being born, and there was a truce, a promise. All proto-drakes will get a choice. If they want to join the Titans, they can do so. If they don't, they won't. So the aspects and the incarnates had no reason to separate their young, because all young dragons would be born proto-drakes, and then at some point they would have the option of either becoming a dragon or remaining a proto-drake. This was sort of the deal that was made. We of course know that it was Tyr and the other keepers that betrayed that deal, and we know that Veranoth said Alexstrasza simply stood by and watched. So Veranoth very much blames her for that. And you have to think about this, right? Entire clutches were lost in an instant, and you didn't know about it until your child was born, until this young dragon was hatched, and you looked at it and you go, this is not my child. This doesn't look like my child. The betrayal, the level of betrayal there would have been absolutely astonishing. Then, of course, we have the War of the Scaleborn. What makes that one very difficult is we don't know anything about it. We're only going to learn about it in the book later, but we know that the aspects won that war at great cost to themselves, but they did manage to win. They didn't kill the Incarnates, a mistake that will maybe come back to bite them in the ass, but they did imprison them, and they imprisoned them for tens of thousands of years. What's interesting is the aspects thought that these prisons would lock the dragons in stasis, so they wouldn't know that time was passing, they wouldn't know anything about what was going on. It turns out that Titan prisons are actually far more cruel than that. They leave you fully aware and awake. You just can't move, you can't do anything, you're trapped there for all eternity or for as long as it takes to get you out. Of course, Razageth eventually did free her brothers and her sister, but she was killed in the process. If you start putting all of these things together, you start putting together the betrayals, you start putting together the conversation that Veranoth has with Alexstrasza, a simple question starts to emerge. Is there any way to bridge that gap? Turns out, yeah, there is. All Alexstrasza has to do is go, join us. And Veranoth goes, sure, why not? Right? It's not a problem whatsoever. So I find this particular storyline very, very difficult to believe in. And I genuinely believe that if that is the storyline that they want to go down, it's not going to work. It's not going to hit. It feels incredibly forced. So I think there is a different storyline. Don't get me wrong. It's not, the problem isn't that Vyranoth turns against Fyrakk. She may actually believe that Fyrakk has gone way too far. And of course, she is warning Alexstrasza on the aspects because for Veranoth, the battle has always been against the Titans and removing the Titan curse. For Veranoth, the battle isn't to destroy all the living beings of Azeroth. That's not what Veranoth is all about. That's not her goal, right? And it's entirely plausible that she sees what Fyrakk is doing and she goes, what the fuck? That is a little bit much. I'm not going to get involved in that. It's not plausible from there for her to ally with the aspects. That's where things go a little bit too far. The way I see it, there are two possible ways for this story to play out. And yeah, we're gonna need the tinfoil crown again. It's absolutely necessary. And for those of you that saying there's a hole in the top, how else are the lore gods going to come in my brain and tell me what's up? I need to keep a hole open. It's specially designed. It's only the speculation and lore gods that can get through. It's on purpose. But okay, there's two possible ways this plays out in my estimation. The first is that Veranoth is there to betray the aspect. This is her game. So we know that Iridikron is playing his game. He sort of went back in time and he siphoned power out of Galakrond, and then he fucked off out of a giant purple portal. And, you know, we had that ominous little thing with Xal'atath standing right behind him, you know, waiting to have sex with him or something. I don't know. I don't know what their plans were, but it looked like it was time for sexy time. But anyways, right? So he goes off and he does his thing. Now we have Fyrakk, right? After he got the Shadow Flame, he's now, you know, just hell-bent on getting his hands on that tree. You know, he sort of saw what Sylvanas did with the World Tree Teldrassil, and he was like, fuck it, I want to do the same thing. Except he doesn't want to burn it down. He wants to claim whatever power is inside of it. This may be the power of the Shadowlands, because remember, the seed from which this tree was born is actually from the Shadowlands. It's thousands upon thousands of Night Elf souls that lie within that seed that would ultimately form a Yggdrasil. So it might be that he just wants the power of that anima for himself, and it may not actually be indicative of what world trees are in general, but that doesn't matter, right? So Fyrakk is off doing his thing. He's in the dream, fucking a bunch of dream fairies, or, you know, being fucked by dream fairies. I don't know exactly. But then we have Vyranoth, and her goal, or her duty within this fight, is to lull the aspects into a false sense of security, into believing that they have a friend in her. And meanwhile, this will be used as a way to keep tabs on what the aspects know, what the aspects do not know, and it will be a pretty easy way for her to basically betray them from the inside, weakening their position so that ultimately the Incarnates can be successful. This I can absolutely see play out, no exceptions, or no doubts in my mind. The second one that could potentially be, and I'm not saying that any one of these are absolutely going to happen, because with Blizzard, there's always some surprise that leaves me disappointed, much like my sex life. In this instance, the other one it could be is that Veranoth's job isn't to betray the aspects so much as it is to bring the aspects over to the way of the Incarnates. So her job is to show the aspects just how evil the Titans actually is. Remember, Vyranoth's entire problem is with the Titans and the Titanhold, and it seems like that's Iridikron's problem as well. Neither of Iridikron or Vyranoth appears to have any interest in killing things. Their main interest is in killing Titans. That's the only thing they're obsessed about, and this may actually be why Vyranoth had to offer herself to the aspects, so that she can get the ear of the aspects to show them what the Titans had wrought. And this may then finally bring to truth Tyr's vision, where it shows him how every single one of the aspects finally turns against him. Now, of course, the Void says that they're going to turn to the Void, and that's going to be against him. But remember, the Void deals in half-truth, so yes, they will turn against Tyr, but no, they will not all turn to the Void. The fact of the matter is, I believe that any one of these two could be correct. It's going to be up to Blizzard to choose one. Either one of these are really good storylines, in my opinion. The storyline that isn't good is Veranoth just forgiving everything that happened to her children, forgiving everything the Titans had done, and now being one of the aspects, the aspect of ice, because they need a Queen of Ice or whatever. That is the one storyline I would not like. But that's it for me. Hit the like button if you liked, subscribe over on Patreon if you enjoy this channel and you want to keep it free from sponsorships, $1 a month. That's all I ask. All right, peace out, ladies and gentlemen.